Well, hello guys. Welcome to the new patch notes. 10.10 just dropped, and yeah, sadly, it's pretty much as disappointing as I expected it to be. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it's what we need to work with, and I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna try to explain what I think about it, why I think this patch has like a lot of lines of text without any actual change, and try to explain the few things I think are good, um, and why they are good and why the other stuff is like just filler again. Um, Starting off with before we get to the champs, I don't know how many of you guys followed the recent developments when it comes like to player behavior and stuff. There was this Voy video, and then the talk on Twitch where LS talked to Hotshot, and then the next day where he talked to Dominate, Whippo, and then Malice. It's pretty interesting. I would recommend everyone to watch that. You can learn a lot about it, but like brief summary would be the problem we're facing right now is Riot has an easy time punishing people that say bad words and are flaming, because an algorithm can do that, but they are struggling to punish people that are just soft inting. Soft inting pretty much means you get into a ranked game, an environment that's meant to be competitive, that's meant for people that, even if they're an iron, but like for people that are trying their best to win. And they just play for fun, they get their one trick banned, and they don't dodge, all that kind of stuff. Or sometimes they just like they don't hard int, but they just soft int. One example would be to like pick Tam Kench and follow someone and eat him all the time, or like put walls with a Nivea or tunnel pillars where you can deny recalls, or like pick Nunu and just eat all the buffs so your jungler can farm. So this kind of stuff which doesn't show in stats. You're not 0 or 30, and you have your items or like bad items, and for their algorithm it looks like a bad game, but it's obvious trolling. And in my opinion, they had like the wrong focus for quite a bit of time now, because I personally think if someone flames, just disable the chat. You don't need the chat. I've been saying this for like years now, and in the like the talk, Brippo also said like there's nothing in the game you can't communicate through pings. Like pings are enough. You don't need to talk. So someone's like, but I'm so offended if they talk to me. Personally, I think like just disable chat and you're fine. But if someone is soft inting, I can't just disable him. It's not possible. So I think like this is actually the more important stuff, because yeah, banning people for like verbal abuse, this is something an algorithm can do with like a good like a big amount, or like a huge success rate would be like the right term to put it, I think. And yeah, they said they wanna focus more on this disruptive behavior now and try to improve it, which is like really good. I'm curious how it will turn out, how much they can actually do, because like they obviously can't review all the games. One opinion would be to just review the games in high elo, because that's possible. Set an example with that, because like if people don't see players soft inting in high elo all the time, they're more scared to do it themselves. So like this might be a way to do it, but yeah, they're gonna start working on it, and that's a good thing. But let's head to the first champion, the Queen of Mid Lane, and start discussing what's actually happening. Annie got a damage reduction on her increased. It used to be 10 to 22%. Now it's 13 to 29%. This change is nice to have, but it doesn't change too much, because like you have to look at the first value here, the first level. And the problem we're facing here is it will stay the same till level 14. Level 14 is the first time we will actually change anything here, because you max it last. So yeah, it's still 3%. It's nice, and it makes her scale a bit better into the late game, because like Annie had this problem that she's not a very good scaler. And damage reduction does not mean she deals more damage per se, but it actually can increase her damage, because it can mean she gets one spell rotation more out, and yeah, that can help quite a bit. So it's nice to have, but it's not the biggest change. The R, on the other hand, I think it's like pretty good, pretty decent, because like it's the R damage got doubled on every rank from 10, 15, 20 to 20, 30, 40. The scaling doesn't do too much, only 0.02%, like 0.02, so like 2% more damage. Or like if you compare it, it's like 20% increase to the amount you got before. But yeah, you didn't get much from the scaling anyway. But like the base damage is really nice, because that means Tibbers on 5 people at level 16 is 100 damage per tick that he deals. It's quite a sizable amount. It can up quite a bit, especially like the damage reduction that Tibbers also gets, and Annie gets. So like there's more time to deal that damage actually. So yeah, I mean, she won't be good in high elo still. She won't be good in competitive, because there's still too many ways to punish her and her kit. But like for low and mid elo, where she's always been a really good pick, especially to improve on laning phase, this actually helps. This might be the difference between being one shot and getting out with like a really low HP. Also, like if you get killed, the R damage cannot add up when Tibbers chases someone to actually secure the kill. So yeah, it's like it's a change I kind of like, because I think this champion should be a bit better in low elo, so people will play her more, because if the more people play the player, the more people that there are that actually improve at laning. And I mean, when we talk about laning, we talk about fundamentals. Fundamentals are what make you good at League of Legends, not mechanics. That's just how it is. Mechanics are important, but fundamentals are like what can make you the really good or like the best player. Diana change, I don't know what they were thinking when they say, yeah, we made her a bit weaker, like in the aggressive laning phase, where she goes for aggressive trades. She loses 24 HP. That's not even one auto attack. So like, it only favors in like corrupting pot, or like a few million auto attacks. Yeah, but when Diana got out earlier, she will probably still get out, because like it's only 24 HP. Because you should never go for a trade where you have to favor in like a low 2-digit HP amount. Because like that's never like a good play. It's always way too risky. So this doesn't change much. And then like I refuse to believe that anyone at Riot headquarters actually believes that 0.04 attack damage on an AP champion are like the amount that makes a difference. So like that's just stat rounding. Probably I'm just hoping it's just stat rounding, and no one actually sat down and said, hey, but we need to nerf this, and this is better. And like the 24 HP don't change anything at all. It's like, yeah, it's not the like realistic amount. 50 would be a different story, but I mean 24, pretty much a joke. Irelia got a small buff, 70 to 20, 230 scaling to 80 to 260, only her E as damage. Um, this this effect gets like relevant earlier than this one because you max the E second. Only one is only 10 damage, but it gets up to 30 damage. And I don't think it helps much like in the bad matchups or like in the trading. I feel like it helps more securing last hits with your E if you're in a bad matchup, or like hard shoving the lane where you just put your E like through all enemy minions and W, and then you just Q and literally kill everything. It might be like a small difference to hard shove waves and in the early game to secure like the cannon, like a bigger window of like HP where you can go in to secure the cannon. You can now go in when there's like 80 HP and don't have to wait till there's 70. So like might be easier, but like it's a good change because like I think she's a pretty good designed champion. She has bad matchups. She's not like OP, not much played in competitive. She's good in high elo solo queue, but this does not make her OP. But it helps her like in every elo, just a slight little bit. So I think like this doesn't like it's one of the changes, and there are a lot of those in this patch that are like positive, like a good development or like the good push in the right direction, but the effect won't show that much. Then I think like one of like it needs to be like that one of the Riot Balance team lost to Katarina and Silver, and it's like okay, we have to nerf this. It's too strong because like this champion, it's coin flip 1%. She either goes 10-0 or 0-10. I kind of find it funny that they say something like consistently, because like consistent is like the word that fits Katarina the worst. Like she's not a consistent champion, and I think like of course obviously she's a bit worse, but she still has like the same outplay potential even with like the lower damage. I mean, we started at the same amount in the early levels, and then it goes down from like 0.55 to 1.0 and 0.55 to 0.88. So like of course it's a bit of a nerf, but it's fine if you're good at Katarina, especially in low elo. You're still gonna outplay people. Like I'm trying to think of what they could have done differently. What are the other changes that could happen, and that I think like could work with like the maybe movement speed she gets, or like the cooldown, or like the cooldown refund, where you have to think more when you take your trades, because like with this change you're still gonna take all the trades you wanted to take before, because the amount of damage that she loses is not that big. That if you were smart about it and went for a good trade, that now it's suddenly a bad trade. That's just not the case. Trades will still be favorable because like positioning of the wave and all that kind of stuff. So of course it's a small nerf, but there are so many other things you could change that could have like a bigger impact and make her more like, because Katarina obviously is in a way a skill champion that you need to one trick to be actually really good at her. And if you could make it more risky, like less cooldown refund, or like so like less movement speed, that makes it riskier for go for the trades. You have to be smarter about your all-ins, and I think like this is what needs to be done, and not just take away a bit of damage. But I mean, yeah, I think I think the champion is useless and a bit worse now. But like people that thought, oh, I'm playing against Katarina, she's OP. won't feel much of a difference. They won't suddenly say, "Oh, now she's balanced. Oh, it feels so good. Like now I actually enjoy playing against Katarina." Just that's not happening. But yeah, it's right. Then like the expected Kane change. I mean, like it was expected after the buffs in the last patch. I already said it in the last patch notes that he will get a small nerf, and that's completely fine. I especially like that they only changed like the Rust heal, and it's gone on from like 34.5 to 43 percent to 30 to 40%. Like the 0.5 don't really matter because that's level 1, and at level 1 you don't have your farm. So like we're talking about a decrease from 4 to 3% pretty much, like over the course of the game. And that's fine to hit Rust like that because he's still gonna be good in the matchups he is good in against tanks and stuff. And I personally have the philosophy, if like people might say, but like if it's only such a small change, why aren't you happy with like the other stuff? um, I'm there's some stuff that's like reasonable. Like Kane is in a good state, and this changes it that when playing him on top against other bruisers, he will struggle a bit more with the reduced healing. Against tanks, he's still as strong. It doesn't change much of the nature of the champion, but in the case of Kane, or for example, in the case of Aurelia, you don't need to change the nature of the champion. In the case of other champions, you need to actually do something about the kit to make them playable or to make them like reasonably weaker. For example, like at Katarina, you need to do something other than just take away damage. With Aurelia, you can make her a bit stronger and see what happens because like the kit is like sophisticated enough to allow it. With Katarina, on the other hand, if you want to make her like more balanced, I mean, I don't think toning down the damage is good, but it's just a low elo thing, I guess. And for Kane, I think like we have to see how it develops. Sadly, since we don't have much pro play right now, we don't really see like lane Kane being played. But I'm still thinking like you still have the 3 position flags with like red farm top, both farms jungle, blue farm mid lane, and just hitting the red farm a bit is like a good way to get him to balance because you don't hurt the blue farm. And I still think they might do some tweaking in the next patch because like he's in 10.10 he's still stronger than he was in 10.8. He's weaker than he was in 10.9, obviously, but like he's still stronger. And we have to see like I think in all the tank matchups on top lane he's just pretty disgusting. But we have to see like how it turns out in pro play until we can like actually see how strong he is, how much he can do in like the highest level of play. But yeah, I think it's a fine change. It's a good change to tone it down a bit and to see like how he stabilizes. This like just a small thing, but on the other hand, it's still one of the changes that doesn't really change much. And personally, if I look at the patch notes, I want at least a few changes where I say, okay, this changes a lot. Like Kane in the last patch, where I say, okay, I can talk about this like for minutes and minutes and think about what does it actually do. Because like this doesn't do much, it just makes him a tiny bit weaker. But I think this is like the right decision here. And then just like try to tweak him. And maybe next patch he gets like a bit nerfed a bit more or even get buffed a bit more. Okay, next champion Kled. Kled got his cooldown a bit like increased on the Q. It used to be 9 to 7 seconds, and now it's 11 to 7 seconds. Obviously, that hurts the champion, especially since that's there's a spell he can spam because he has no resource. Same like with Garen or champions like Katarina. If you don't have any resources, you can literally spam the spell off cooldown. But still, it's the skill he maxes first. So at level 9, it's the same. At level 5, so you have 3 points in your queue, it's only 1 second. And 1 second, personally, I'd say it's like, of course, if you like play perfectly, you can force the wave and you can force like the enemy to be in the position where you can use your Q immediately once it goes off cooldown. You could do that, but most people don't do that. Most people have like 1 second in between that anyway. So like effectively, I'd say you lose 1 second on the first one, and then you don't really lose much or like anything anymore on like the level 3. So I mean, like, he's a bit weaker, but also like it doesn't change much. It's just like a small tiny nerf. Makes him like a little bit oppressive, like a little bit less oppressive in the early game, but still same as like with pretty much every change we had so far. It does not change any matchup at all. It just changes like a small percentage of power in the matchups you would pick him anyway. Next champion, Misfortune. Loses 10 movement speed per level, like maximum bonus on your W. I mean, it's like a step in the right direction. I still think she will need a bit more because she's pretty strong right now. But losing a bit of movement speed might be a good change, because it might be the case that like a support with Mobies can catch up to her or so, which was like a problem early on. And all the damage she has is annoying, but the damage is fine if you're able to catch her, if you're able to punish her. And with the movement speed, it's kind of hard to do that. So yeah, I'm curious to see if there will be like follow-up changes and how much that will actually affect her. We have to see that. Maybe like I've heard that Freak like runs the numbers to everything in his patch notes. I don't know if he does it about changes like this as well, like all the time. I've never watched this patch notes, but like I've seen one or two like clips from the patch notes on Reddit or Twitter. And if someone's like interested in this, how much of a difference like it is compared to like average support with Mobies, if she's like slower now or like same speed or still faster, be free to check it out and message me about it. So it's really nice to see they do something, and I think like this is the right change, but I don't think this will affect her enough to change much. But maybe like if there's a follow-up change and like they reduce the movement speed once more and reduce the slow on her E or so, that makes her more vulnerable, and then maybe she gets to the state where she's actually not as strong as she is right now. Maokai loses a whopping amount of 2.28 mana. Like, I mean, Champion's dead, I guess. Okay, no, just kidding. I mean, this doesn't change much. Like 2 mana. This actually does change something, because like 10 mana adds up over time, but still, I think like if you get like a Fairy Charm, if you can afford it early on, this should like make up for this difference. If you don't like spam it all the time, if you use it smart, it's still fine. It's still playable. He's still like equally strong. If he's playing against AP champions and you go Abyssal Mask, you don't struggle at all, because like then you have enough inbuilt mana. If you play against like AD champions, you want to get your Sunfire as quick as possible, then you might have to go like with the Fairy Charm, or even try to get what's it called, the Glacial Shroud, I think, like the component item for Frozen Heart. But I think like a Fairy Charm is probably enough to make up for this. And so yeah, not much changes. The tree will still be like rooted in top lane, and yeah, that's just how it is about this champion. Okay, Nidalee. Nidalee got her ability power ratios increased a bit from 0.4 to 0.5, and like at max range of the spear, it like tripled the amount, so like it went up from 1.2 to 1.5, with like a max range spear do like quite a bit more damage now. That's actually really nice. But still, I mean, you have to think like how often do you hit a max range spear? That basically helps with like clear, where you can like guarantee the max range spear, or like the Gromp or so. In most other instances, it does not change this much. What I personally would like to see were like changes on her E. Give it more attack speed, give it more heal, makes her clear easier, so she can clear better with it, but she also has more utility for her teammates. Because like right now we have like when we talk about farm junglers, we have a lot of like farm and deal damage junglers, like Karthus, Graves, Kanes also. I still don't think she can with this change she can contest them. I don't think she's good enough, and with this like she has a better clear, more healthy, quicker, and in the poke comp she can add more power to her team, and yeah, this would help, like especially in scanning team comps, if you can buff the AD carry with like more attack speed, or like you can heal more and go for the poke game. So I think like if they give her a follow-up buff with the E buff, like where they increase attack speed and heal, I think then she might get to the point where she's able to contest with the other junglers. Might not be like the best in all situations, but like good in quite a few situations, and just a kind of different approach, like more utility based and not only raw damage. And I mean, Nidalee still will have a lot of damage, but give her a bit more utility, because like right now she only has damage, and not reasonable and enough, like a reasonable amount that's enough to make a utility jungler. Because like the knock up from like a Red Kayn or the W slow from Karthus still do more like her heal right now. But yeah, still it's a push in the right direction. But also here, like with everything, I don't think much changes. Sivir gets more mana from her E now. Used to be 80 to 140, and now it's 110 to 150. So like it's way more in the early game. And since you don't want to max it, like you have this 30% increase for like most of the game. Like not 30%, like 30 mana flat increase. So this is pretty nice, because that can mean she has more mana to spam her spells in lane, which means she can push the wave more effectively with the Q and your W. And I mean that's the reason why you pick Sivir, right? You want to push in the wave, you want to shove, and you want to scale. Problems Sivir is facing right now is games are never really go long enough, especially with like Elder Dragon, for her to be relevant or be better than other champions. Because other late game champions spike at like 3 items, and Sivir literally needs like 5 until she gets actually decent. And then she's really, really strong, because like a 5 or 6 item Sivir, like your W shreds through everything. But other champions that scale well can do a bit more earlier, and you need that right now. So like this change, even though I think it helps her to accelerate her scaling, because she can push more effectively, she can get more plates, still means she will be in a tough spot. Here I'd say like follow-up damage on the Q or the W um, would help to like accelerate this, and then she might be at the point where she can be decent, like lower her scaling, give her more base damage or something like that. I don't know, like I'd have to like read all go through the numbers and like calculate everything to make like an exact estimate which would be like the correct change. But like something like this, she needs more like mid game power, and this doesn't really give her more mid game or early game power, but gets her like accelerates her like scaling curve a bit, but only a little bit, and only if used properly, obviously. Soraka, this is actually a kind of interesting change here because she gets 10 flat damage per level on her Q, and the heal cost reduction on her W goes down from 60 or like goes up actually from like 60 to 100 to 80 to 100. More damage on your main spell, especially if we're talking about like solo lane Soraka, is really nice. It's not only 10 damage on the champions, 10 damage on the wave as well, so like you can push better. You don't have like a lot of problems with your mana if you're playing Soraka, or you shouldn't have at least. And I'm not aware if like everyone knows how this works, the cost reduction. But if you hit your Q, you get like the buff, the rejuvenation, that heals you and can be transferred through a W to your like allies. And if you have this buff on you, then your health cost reduction on your W comes into effect. And like 20% difference is pretty huge. Like that's actually pretty huge. And I think since Soraka was still like a sleeper OP champion in solo lanes, which like no one played, like only a few people. I think like I've seen LS coach Nemesis, and I've seen like who was it? Sanchovis, I think, play it or so. Like only like not many people play it. I think like that makes it quite a bit stronger, and maybe that's the point where people are realizing that actually she's still strong solo lanes. Also, like in certain instances, she might be playable as a like carry, AP carry in bot lane if you have Lucian mid lane or Tristana, something like that. I think I heard this idea from Vega V2. I don't want to take credit or anything about that. When I drafted against him like once a few weeks ago, and he was like, I personally think Soraka and Set might be a viable bot lane. Like Set support, Soraka carry. And I don't want to take credit for this idea, but I think like I have to test it out. I did not have time to test it out, but I think like on paper it looks pretty good. Like if you have Soraka Set in a good matchup, let's say like anything you can effectively poke, you can just have the Soraka poking, Set possibly just roaming, Lucian and Tristana mid lane, and then like you have what you need pretty much in the team. So yeah, I think like this we will probably see more of Soraka now, and not in support role, but like more like in solo lanes. And yeah, I have to see like how it develops. I think she should be picked up more now, and she will be picked up more. But like we all know how it works. A lot of times people don't really pick up the stuff even if it's good. Okay, next change, Taric. Taric loses like 5 HP per level. So like at level 10 it's 50. It's a bit, but it's like not insane. But still, like it's 50 damage. 50 damage is 50 damage. It means like you have to be smarter. It's like one free order that you could take before that without getting punished that you lose now. So it is something. This change doesn't do that much. I mean, like you don't max it, so like this 10% is the same, pretty much the same effect. I mean, if you have it maxed, it's a difference, yeah. And I mean, so not only for him, it's also for his ally, but still, I don't think it's too big of a problem for him. I think like he's still fine in the matchups. He's good, and personally, I don't think he's too good in too many matchups because like if you play smarter around him, his ultimate is such a huge cooldown. You can like force an engage and then hard disengage, and then like the team with the Tarek lost their ultimate and they're fucked if you play it smart. And he will work in matchups where he plays with a Kalista or so, who can just jump forward with stun and this kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think this changes much. Like, as I said, like, nothing really changes much. Soraka, maybe, possibly, but that's it. I don't want to like talk too much about this here because, yeah, it's just you. Even like if it's like level 3, right? It's like 3% damage. So per like, or not damage, armor. It's like for every 100 armor Terikas, he gets like 3 more. So or gives his AD carry 3 more. So like even if it's like 300 armor, it's still only 9 armor more that he gives now. That's on himself. It's not much of a difference anyway. And like it's more of a difference on the AD carry because the AD carry will naturally have less armor. So like the lower your armor, the more effect, like the relative like increase in armor and with that in efficiency is. It's like lower amounts of armor have like a bigger effect anyway. It's not only like the relative effect, but also like increase of like the same flat armor is like another percentage in lower armor cases. So like for the AD carry, hurts a bit more, but still like it doesn't hurt enough to make him useless or anything. Next one, Twisted Fate. This is actually also one of the channels where I would like to see different stuff. I want to start with like the one I actually think is good, the mana cost reduction on this R, because like TF has like the same problem a Nocturne also has, where you have to make your first ultimate work. When you have level 6, you might have not been base yet. So like having 50 mana less now and still being able to port bot lane, stun card, use your Q without getting out of mana is really, really nice to have. So like I think this is a good change. Also like it's more in line with literally every other champ because they have like this philosophy where every ultimate should cost 100 mana, which is I mean kind of nice because it's consistent. So I think like this is a good change. This here I think like it's like a 0.5 armor. It's just like rounding up, doesn't change anything, and I think like the 2 AD more does not change much. I think like the approaches I would like to see here would also be like maybe attack speed, because the thing is the AD, yeah, it makes it a bit better like in trading scenarios, but like I mean 10 auto attacks is 20 more damage on the enemy champion, and yeah, with 20 more damage, and you have not even factored in the armor yet, doesn't change that much. Helps more like when it comes to pushing the wave. But what I would have loved to see here would be attack speed actually, like scaling attack speed, because that means scaling attack speed helps with his E, and the E scales with AP. So like it helps if you want to play ADTF, which is not played much anymore, but it also helps if you play APTF. Like it just helps overall, or like a bit of a movement speed increase, which is a bit difficult with TF because TF works really, really well with movement speed. But yeah, wait. The movement speed increase might help to like manage the wave better and getting this extra auto attack in, because you can get into the range and get out immediately. could help more than this 280 does. But I mean, maybe they come up with like some follow-up changes, and then it's fine. I think I just hope they don't think like this is what makes TF viable again, or like really good now with 280, because I don't think this is enough to change much, because it's 280. It helps with the pushing, it helps with the last hitting, sure, but we have to see how it develops. I think still he also needs some follow-up changes, like pretty much everything besides Soraka. And then like we come to like the biggest choke of this whole fucking patch. Udyr gets an insane amount of 5. You have to think about like 5 movement speed. He gets like nearly 0.7 armor HP. He gets like 0.6 mana, but he also loses 0.006 mana regen. So like this is just stat rounding. Doesn't change anything. If we look at this here, you think, oh, so much is happening. There's so much text. But like here, base move speed increased, rounded. So there's no change. You only have like a 5 movement speed change. The problem Udyr is facing is not that he's not fast enough, because like with his passive he can get quite a bit of movement speed, which is nice. And I mean, I think it stacks multiplicatively, or like stacks onto the like a base movement speed. So like this helps. It makes every stack on your passive better, obviously. But if you look at like every champion that got reworked, or every champion that came out in like the past year, I don't know how you could get to the point where you think, okay, a champion that only has movement speed and auto attacks is fine. Just give him more movement speed and he will be good. Like this champion is in desperate need of a rework. I don't know why they even do that. And that's what makes me angry about these patterns all the time, because it feels like they just want to have like another champion being changed in this patch. Say, okay, we're changing this to have like this. Wait, where is it? Top, I think. Like this. We'll say, okay, we're actually changing 7 champions to make them stronger, and we're changing 7 champions to make them weaker. Which on paper is correct, technically. But like realistically speaking, it's not. This champion needs a rework. This champion is useless. This champion will stay useless with that. Because like every champion has mobility, every champion has like slows, CC. Yeah, it's just useless. And if we go back to like this example from up here, it doesn't change literally. It's a small buff, but doesn't change much. Doesn't change much. Maybe like a little bit. Doesn't change. Actually changes something. Even though I think like the buff's not too insane. It might be like people realizing that she's strong. No. Doesn't change much. Completely useless. So like there's like one actual change, one possible change, and the rest is like small quality of life updates for these champions that don't do much. Here. Okay, let's talk about the nerfs. Useless, completely like nothing, literally. Unnecessary small nerf that doesn't change the nature of the champion. Small but kind of reasonable nerf. Doesn't change anything really. Might change anything. I have to run the numbers on that, but like also doesn't do enough, I think. Doesn't really change anything. So like you have 14 champions here, but like 2 here, and like one, maybe 2 actual changes per side. So like that's what makes me angry when I read this, because I had this example in the last patch notes I did, where you go to school, you have like a sheet that you should have done as your homework, where you have to fill in like the correct words, and then you remember, I just need to have it done. I don't get a grade for my homework. I like my teacher gets angry with me if I don't have done it, but if it's just wrong, you can't really blame me. And this is exactly what they're doing. Like literally, they're just fucking they're just fucking around. They're just sitting in the office and say, okay, we need something. Like we have to fill in something. Like what can we do? And like, okay, let's give Ude 5 movement speed and run up the stats, and then people think, oh, we actually did our work, and we didn't. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about this because like that's just lazy. It's just stupid. It just makes me angry. The earth balance changes, no one cares about that. Bug fixes, yeah, you did your job once, fine. Skins, this patch are actually pretty nice. Pulsefire skins are pretty nice. I like the theme. You can hear like also the new chromas. For the Pulsefire skins, and like the new ones look pretty neat. Like the well designed, I really like them. But yeah, let's get like back to the top and like the quick summary once again before we end it. Good change. They actually start like facing the problems they have to. Small change, but small but welcome change, but pretty small, so it doesn't change too much. The ulti one maybe, the other one not too much. Nothing happened here. Also small but welcome change, but like really small. Should not do much in like most cases. What the fuck is even happening? Yeah, I don't know why you would nerf Katarina, and then don't even nerf her like in a way where it's useful, but just to take down the damage. But I mean, yeah, it's right. Small nerf, but like reasonable. I have to like wait to see how like he settles, and I like that they do this because it seems they wanna have him in a playable state, which is like good. Don't wanna have like over buff him, then nerf him, then he's gone again. A small change, small nerf. Only comes like into effect in like the early first like 3 levels really. So like level 5. Once you hit that, it's not really a difference anymore. So yeah, it doesn't change anything really. This might change something. As said, we would have to run numbers like how much like it changes relative to like Moby boots on other champions. If he's actually able to be caught now. As I said, like probably if you nerf it a bit more and then also nerf the slow on the E a bit, then she might be like easier to punish and then like better to balance or like more balance that way. Doesn't do anything. Small mana increase. If you don't spam your Q like a retard, nothing happens. Like nothing changes. If you spam your Q, you have to be a bit more careful. If you buy a Fairy Charm, it's fine. Welcome change, push in the right direction. As I said, follow up patches or like buffs on the E. Attack speed and healing would be nice, and to see if maybe you can like amp her up into like also also having damage, but still being useful in a way that she can also heal and assist the team more than other champions that are farming junglers can. This might help Zero to get like to the point where she's relevant a bit quicker. I still think like the point is still too late in the game, so maybe like she needs something like less scaling, more base damage or something like that to get her into the state where she's actually really good again. Soraka got stronger. This actually helps a lot. This is also really nice. She was strong before though, and this helps her to get into the solo queue or like into the focus of players, I guess. Because I mean she is not bad, but this placebo patch could help her um, to get accepted in a way for like players, and so they are willing to pick her up. But most mid laners and top laners or AD carriers, like, they don't want to win. They don't want to play Soraka and win. They want to deal damage and outplay. And yeah, so they don't enjoy playing Soraka, which is, in my opinion, pretty stupid. But hey, that's just how it is. At level 10, it's 1 auto attack. You can take less. So like, is this a difference? But if you play smart, you can deal with it. This is also like pretty small, especially since you don't max it. Yeah, I think Tarek's still like same as he was before. Nothing changes really. This does not change much in my opinion. A little bit here, nothing here. This is really nice. Makes it easier to find a good first ultimate, like first 2 or 3 even. It's pretty nice. But yeah, I think, as I said, like, maybe attack speed here or movement speed would help him more. And this is just like, this is just an absolute tragedy. I'm losing my fucking mind when I look at this. How people can get back from work and actually think, okay, I did my job. I did something good here. Just, I refuse to believe that these people actually do that, because like, I mean, it would fit right, but I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe that someone does this and thinks I did a good job, because like that would be like a pretty sad sign for humanity. But yeah, that's it for the patch notes now. Like, one thing I want to add at the end. I'm gonna try to like upload a bit more videos now. I've posted one coaching video already. I want to do like a few guides possibly where I explain like how to climb, and not like the play this and you climb, or like this OP hidden pick, because like these clickbait videos are like dog shit in my opinion. I'd rather have like have a patch a video where I explain like how to improve without like being tied to a patch or to a certain champion. How to get to the mindset, how to get like a good work ethic, how to actually verify, am I improving, am I not, and this kind of stuff. If there's like any input anyone has to any ideas, like any feedback, anything, feel free to comment and give me a heads up. I will try to like to do, or like to make the kind of videos people actually want to see. Because I think actually, when I remember, like 2 days ago, Malice, I think, like posted something on Twitter where he was like, there's not much coaching stuff out on the internet. There's like a lot of stuff, but most of it's just clickbait stuff. And I don't want to do this like clickbait stuff. I'm not even interested in like editing videos like well or so. For now, I just want to have like a video where I explain stuff, where I talk, I record it, and then I uploaded it. And like, maybe if I'm like have more viewers and stuff, then possibly I will like put more work into editing, or like get an editor or anything. But like, yeah, it would help to know what you guys, or like you viewers, would like to see. So yeah, that's it, I'd say. Like, for the patch notes, see you guys at 10.11. Next time I will probably be ranting about the patch notes again, and probably get angry again. But hey, maybe Riot gives us like an early Christmas present or so, like half a year early in the next patch. But we have to see. Anyway, at this point, thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.